An old baseball saying, a bloop and a blast.
Bloop and a blast.
Bloop and a blast. Big Sexy, Luke Hughes.
Going back. This ball's back and gone in his first major league at bat. Luke Hughes hits a home run. What a moment for Luke Hughes. What a moment for Australia.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Bloop and a Blast podcast. My name is Big Sexy. I am the Bloop. His name is Luke Hughes. He is the Blast. I got you again. You think I'm going to come in with a certain cadence, and I went all auctioneer on you, mate. What's going on? How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I see you've changed the camera angle. There's no bat in the background. What's going on?
The bat's there. It's Tal's room. It's a mess at the moment. There's stuff going on everywhere. So I've adjusted. You've got to see the door. I apologize. Thanks for bringing it up. You know, we didn't talk about this off air, and now you just throw me directly under the bus. Cheers, horse.
The boards going, yeah, that's what I do here. But, mate, no, doing well. Lots of baseball to discuss. It's my favourite time of the week.
It is. It is. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. I bet you're having a blast. Well, hey, let's move straight into it because we're going to chew the fat on the Team Australia WBC roster. I will tell the listeners, I've been counting the submissions. Now, for, of course, our Guzman and Gomez giveaway. I'm going to announce that on the socials because I don't know if you guys are aware. I don't know if any of you have ever hung out with Hughesy, but when Hughesy wants to do something, we have to do it quick and on time. So I literally just got home and I was going through all of the submissions and Hughesy's like, I'm ready to go. So I was like, all right, well, bugger. I'll have to announce that at a later date. So I apologize. To everyone else. Look, could I have done it over the weekend? Yeah, but I was out getting sunburnt at baseball. So there's that. So, but we will drop it. We will drop it on our socials very quickly. But it looks to me, Hughesy, here's a quick inside tip for you. It looks to me like 22 is the number to beat. So a few omissions there from the punters putting in their tips for who's going to be in the roster. So looks to be about 21, 22 looks to be the number. So I will post that on our socials at Bloop Blast Podcast on Instagram and on Facebook and announce the winners of the 30-man selection. Of course, we won't know the second or third parts of that until we get closer to the tournament. But here we go. This is what we've been waiting for. I'm going to go through it. I'll basically just go through the infielders and outfielders, like the position players, and we can chat about that real quick. And then we'll go into the pitching staff of this roster for Team Australia in the WBC. So, of course, here I'm going off baseball.com.au. Catching. 3 catchers listed. 1, Robbie Perkins. 2, Alex Hall. 3, Mitch Edwards. Infielders, Curtis Mead, Travis Bazzana, Logan Wade, Jared Dale, Rickson Wingrove, George Khalil. Utility, Max Darrington, Robbie Glendenning. Outfielders, Tim Kennelly, Aaron Whitefield, Ulrich Bojarski, and Chris Burke. Hughesy, give it to me.
What would you like to know? Good squad.
It is a good squad. Yeah, it's a great squad.
There's a few guys there that I'm pretty happy to obviously see within that lineup, probably from what the team I selected when I did go through it and announce what I thought would be the team. Yeah. There's probably a couple of omissions which we are happy to discuss now. Would you like me to wait?
Yeah, either or. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I mean, go for it. Whatever you want to do.
Well, firstly, congratulations to everyone that made the team. We did talk about it being one of the harder teams to make, or one of the stronger teams that we've seen for a while. Obviously, Travis Bazzana is a big part, and the more I listen to him talk, the more I understand the passion that drives him, and it's pretty cool to see, right? So obviously he'll be leading the charge offensively for that team, and there is a little bit of weight on his shoulders, but it seems like he's going to be able to handle that, right? Just a little bit of that added pressure to carry the country. Number 1 draft pick. So there's plenty going on there, and MLB are doing a good job to showcase him, which I really like to see. I'd love to see a little bit more over in Australia, but I always say that. Yeah. You got some veterans mixed in there. Obviously, the GOAT, Tim Kennelly, is there, and for his final Australian team trip, which he will be locking down, that experienced role of being able to discuss and talk to the younger players and show them what it's all about. So it's great to see him finishing off. But really, I think the guy I'm really most interested in is Aaron Whitefield, right? He is the guy. He's so exciting to watch. drives me insane as I coach him at Essendon on a daily basis. And I'm sure he's probably going to call me in between this podcast. But he's a guy, of course, called Curtis Mead, right? Fantastic to see Curtis Mead and Travis Bazzano on the same roster for the first time. I think that's pretty special. And I'm really looking forward to what particularly those four guys can do throughout there. The couple of guys that I would look at that I think were unfortunate to miss out on this active 30-man roster. Probably the first one would be a guy that got hurt unfortunately late, Jared Belbin. That's
was in a lot of the punters' picks. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah. So the general consensus is positive there.
Yeah, unfortunately he got hurt, right? Yeah. And that's pretty late in the piece, and I feel for him. He's worked his butt off all year, and I think it's been great to have Aaron Whitefield down at Essendon as well as Jared Belbin. What was that?
That's
terrible.
I am so sorry.
All right, back into it.
I could edit it out, but I think we'll leave it in. My bad.
No, leave it in.
That's a work call too, so sure.
Even better. But back to it, having Jared working with Aaron, all year, I think's driven Jared to become a better player. And, Aaron's demanded more out of him, and he's really grown over the course. So I really feel for Belbin and the untimely injury. We will see him in the national team uniform very shortly. And yeah, my kind of like anytime you miss out due to injury, it's very, very tough. And it's one thing that's going to be, upsetting for Jared for a little while. But as I said, he'll be on that national team at some stage. The next would be Darryl George, not making that team. He's a veteran of the Australian baseball team. He's shown at many tournaments that he has the ability to be an elite defender at third base, as well as one of the guys you just slot into that middle part of that order. I think his experience alone probably should have got him onto that roster in a capacity of being able to defend when they need him to defend. And he's faced a lot of Asian pitching, and we do play 3 Asian teams. He, spent some time in Japan playing and has played at many world tournaments, versus the Asian style pitching, which is completely different to the US style of pitching. So I think he's very unlucky not to be able to make that roster. And the third guy that I have as the position player wise is Brent Iredale. And he got drafted last year after a fantastic season with Arkansas, where played 65 games, hit 286 and hit 14 yammers and drove in 57 stakes and stole 9 bags, right? He had a hell of a season last year before going to pro ball and obviously signing with the Pirates and playing about 18 games in Bradenton, right? So he's a guy that, when I discussed who I'm looking forward to in the future, he was one and Doro was the other one, right? So I was kind of hoping both those guys made their way onto the roster. Doro did, which is huge. I always think that you need to have some young people that, look, they're not going to play. They're not going to see, they might see the diamond for a little bit of defense, but it's more to be around the group, to soak it all in at a tournament that they can get some experience of what that's like. So yeah, they're probably the 3 position players that, I would have liked to have seen in the lineup or on the roster. Obviously one's injured, but the other 2 guys definitely would have loved to have seen them in that roster.
Yeah. It's a pretty well-rounded roster too, though. Like, I mean, I'm looking at like guys like George Khalil. Like, I'm happy to see Georgie get that spot there. But yeah, it is sad to see some of those omissions. And as I said to you, like all of those names, like it wasn't just one of them, but a lot of those names were in those picks. I was going through those picks this afternoon and like crossing them off and whatnot, and it's like, woof, like it's pretty hotly contested. So there we go. Let's move over to the pitching side of things, and this is where you see, as again, I've been looking at these guys, and there's been a lot of people A, get right, but also B, omissions. But we'll get into them. So on the lefty side of things, you've got Alex Wells, Lockie Wells, Jack O'Loughlin, Josh Hendrickson, Blake Townsend, John Kennedy, and Cooper Morgan. And for the righties, you've got Mitch Newborn, TVS, Todd Van Stansel, Warwick Sorpold, Connor McDonald, Cohen Wynn, Kai Hampton, Kieran Hall, and Sam Holland. So there you go. A lot going on there. A lot of guys from the left side too that are just love that. Love to see the lefties represent. What are your thoughts on the pitching staff, Hughesy?
Yes, there is some notable players missing from that roster for the pitching staff. You know, the one and only Liam Hendricks.
Yeah.
Arguably probably our best pitcher I think that we've ever produced, and he's shown that over a long period of time. He's had some tough health battles. He's made his way back. He's healthy. You know, I'm sure that there's something going on there with him to hopefully some good positive news coming out shortly for him for the reason why. Just reading between the lines, I guess, with him. There has been that insurance drama, and old Hendo ain't young anymore, so I don't know. Yeah. That's a little bit of a case of that too. But, you know, I really hope that, you know, we see him. If they boys get through to the second round, it'd be great to see him. I just want to see him pitch for Australia again. He's just so passionate. I think it would just be unbelievable for our game to see Liam wear the Australian baseball uniform again. It's been a while.
Are you saying that's a chance, is that a chance? Can you add guys to the roster throughout if they get, or not really?
Yeah, you can add guys if they get through to the second round. You can look at your squad and make some changes if you'd like.
Yeah, right. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's always injuries. There's always people unavailable. There's always things that happen. So they can adjust that roster if they get through to the second round. Okay. The other probably two guys that I look at, and I saw some comments around on just different platforms, is Bibois. Right, he was nasty last year. I actually wrote his stats down because everyone just needs to take hold of this. You know, he threw 61 innings and had a .74. He worked all the way through the minor league system with the Pirates. You know, he's on the 40-man roster now. He's going to big league camp and he's competing for a spot in the major league roster. Right, so over the years of being involved, you know, with the World Baseball Classic, there has been players that were in this position where they did have to make a tough decision on, do they go away with Team Australia to compete at a tournament like this, or do they spend as much time as possible with their major league club to try to make that team and set themselves up for life, right? So I completely understand the reasons why Bibois has, you know, chosen to stay in big league camp, and he has the opportunity to break with the team. Now, that's still a bit of a long shot because, you know, the Pirates and how they work and how they want to, you know, hold on to guys longer. So, you know, if he doesn't get caught up until whenever the date is, June, July, they get that extra year of service time. So we'll see how that one plays out. But I think those two omissions are huge. Winard, you know, unfortunately, I think he's banged up and a little bit hurt and probably just getting himself ready for spring training. So, you know, missing out on, you know, those three guys, you know, is pretty tough. But the two pitchers that were available, I'll kick it off with Louis Thorpe. I just don't know how that Louis Thorpe doesn't make that team. He's a ex-Major League Baseball player. He's experienced. He throws 95 from the left side. Essendon faced him a couple of weeks ago and felt like he was just rolling it over, and he was pumping probably 92 to 94 at a club ball game, right? And, you know, dominated. And Louis come a long way. He's matured a lot over the years. He's a great fella. He's pitched out of the bullpen in the major leagues. He could do both for that team. And I really don't understand how a left-handed pitcher who throws 95 with Major League Baseball experience has missed out on the World Baseball Classic roster for Team Australia. So, you know, you can chop it up whatever way you kind of like. That name should be on that roster. And
Did he pitch for the Aces this year?
Yeah, he's pitching for the Aces.
Pitching for the Aces and in club ball and stuff. Yeah, okay.
And in club ball, you know, obviously he's got a family now. He came down to Australia to get prepared for the World Baseball Classic, and he's done everything to put himself in that position. And unfortunately for him and his family and everyone involved, his name wasn't selected. So, I just really don't understand how you don't pick a Major League experienced guy that throws from the left side and pumps 95. Even though there are plenty of left-handers on that roster, he's still one of the best pitchers that we have available to be selected for this team. And, you know, he's pitched in big tournaments. in the past. He's been a part of that team, and he looks bloody healthy and looks bloody sharp at the moment. So
Yeah, right.
I think that's probably the number one pitcher that I see that should feel extremely hardly done by. And the other one that I have is Billy Parsons.
Okay.
Billy Parsons has been pitching in the Frontier League the last couple of years. He's had 2 great seasons over in independent ball. Last year he was 9-4 with a 3.5 in 90 innings. Right,
Yep.
So a guy that obviously hasn't come down to pitch in the ABL or for the Aces this year due to family commitments in the States. I'm pretty sure he's either married to an American girl. But I definitely think, a guy like that could easily have made that roster. Now, I don't know how much it's hurt him by not pitching in the ABL. But if he knew, I'm sure he would have been getting ready and raring to go if his name was selected. So they're probably the 2 pitchers that I look at that were available to be selected that haven't been selected.
Yeah, again, these are all names that people are throwing out there, so you're not alone in this. It's not Hughesy sitting on his lounge in Melbourne saying, "Hey, why aren't these guys in there?" Because a lot of names I'm seeing from people that listen to the podcast saying, "Hey, they should be in this team," or they thought they would be picked. So yeah, pretty interesting. Thorpe's also got a wild photo on Baseball Reference. Go and check that out yourself. He looks like a bag of fun. I want to hang out with that guy for sure. But yeah, that's the roster as we see it. Again, super interesting. Now I love that. Hey, are we a chance? If we get to round 2, we get a little hendo in there. Let's go. Come on, that'd be nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, putting it out there. There you go. That is the playing roster for the WBC. Yeah, it's competitive, man. There's a lot either side of it. Whether you're on the offense or the pitching stuff, it's there's a lot going on there. We can go through. We can just go through to the schedule now, if you'd like to. We can look through the coaching stuff. I'd like to go through this. I might quickly go through the coaching stuff here. Of course, our manager is Dave Nielsen. Bench coach. My apologies. Ever since I got that work call, I'm rattled. Michael Collins. Pitching coach Jim Bennett. Bullpen coach Graham Lloyd, first base coach Shane Watson, third base coach Andrew Graham, hitting coach Chris Adamson, aka Tank, assistant hitting coach Will Bradley, assistant coach Damian Shanahan, assistant coach Andrew Kyle, EO travel manager Robert Moden. Did I say that right? I probably didn't. Analytics Josh Spence, video coordinator Tyler Anderson, assistant coordinator Liz Guy, Billy O'Sullivan, love you Billy. Bullpen catcher Jake Burns, physio Greg Castle, Jeff Bloom, athletic trainer Kevin Rand, and Chuck Borman, and strength and conditioning Jason Morris, and of course assistant strength and conditioning Jacob Nielsen. So there you go, quite a big coaching staff there, but I guess you need it. A few omissions
lucky
there.
the dugouts are massive in Japan.
Yeah, I tell you what, it'd be good to see some of the guys that we've got, more of those guys coaching in the minor leagues on that side. But I guess, hey, it is what it is. That's great. Sharper minds than mine are working that out. So there you go.
The one name that's noticeable that's not on that coaching roster is Alan DeSan Miguel. He's a major league coach for the Kansas City Royals. Has him listed as a bullpen catcher, but he's just not a bullpen catcher. He does a lot with the data and the analytics and, helps out with the hitting, puts different philosophies together for the pitching staff, working, obviously directly in line with the major league roster and coaches. So, that's probably the one that I would say. One of my best mates, DeSan, didn't get invited to that one. Lots of different coaches there. I'm really excited to see Will Bradley, on the Australian coaching national team.
Yeah.
I've heard so many good things about Will, and another major league coach added to that roster, which is fantastic. Obviously having Grazer there, and Colo, 2 guys that have been 2 ex-teammates of mine that have been in the States for a very long time coaching professionally too, right? So you got some good experience within that, and then a trickle of Australian coaches that apply their trade in Australia. Tyler Anderson, another pro coach in there, which is great. And obviously, how much I love Chris Adamson too. So, yeah, there's a lot of good people involved with that, and a lot of people that need to be there to be able to help that team compete at the highest level. Hence why you see, all the physiotherapists and athletic trainers there. They'll all be hoping everyone stays healthy. They don't have to do too much work. But yeah, they're probably, as I said, the one guy that I do see is glaring obvious is Alan de San Miguel. I think he's probably the only coach that is a professional coach that isn't there.
Yeah. Let's move on to the schedule. Now, all games are going to be broadcast in Australia on ESPN and Disney Plus, so that's awesome. So make sure you're aware of that. This is all in Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Yeah. March 5th is when it all kicks off. Australia versus Chinese Taipei. That'll be 2 p.m. The 6th of March, 2 p.m. again. Australia versus Czech. The 8th, March 8th, 9 p.m. Australia versus Japan. You beauty, that's going to be awesome. And on the 9th of March, it'll be 9 p.m. again, Australia versus Korea. That is going to be pretty much how those 4 days go for me.
Yeah, no, exactly right, mate. They get the opportunity to go in there. Straight away within the first 2 games, if they got a chance, they have to beat Chinese Taipei. They have to beat Czech because, if they don't win those first 2 games coming up against Japan, Korea, it's going to be extremely hard for them to be able to progress through to that second round, right? What the most interesting thing that I see is how Dave's going to utilise the playing staff. What philosophies is he going to coach by? At the last tournament, we noticed, and everybody noticed that every inning there was a different pitcher. It seemed like his philosophy at the last tournament was just like get 3 outs and move on to the next guy. So it'll be interesting to see how he utilizes the amount of lefties that he has and what they end up doing in that space. Obviously, some of these guys have played in Korea, so I wouldn't expect to see those guys pitching against the Korean national team. They'll probably have to go up with some guys that they've never seen before. They'll be heavily scouted. They do a great job over there in Japan and in Korea. But it really comes down to how Dave's going to utilize that offensive group and how if he's going to play matchups. I'm sure there's a little bit there that he can play around with, but I think there's a clear starting 9 versus a left-handed pitcher and a clear starting 9 versus the right-handed pitcher. They've got some guys there that can defend really well, but I do think there's a pretty straightforward lineup for both left-handed pitching and right-handed pitching.
There you go. Do you want to wait? Do you want to hold off on divulging that? We've got a while, man. We've got like a month.
I don't want to say all keep. I want to keep a little bit close and go dive into this team a little bit. Heavier. I think the boys fly out on Sunday into Fuchu, I think it is, and I think they go down to Miyazaki. I think for the WBC component of the warm up stuff, and then into Tokyo, right? So big going on there.
My favorite part of doing this podcast with you, Luke, is you pronouncing names, and especially Japanese
Miyazaki,
names, all types of names. It's the best. It makes it fun.
I've been to Miyazaki, I've been to Fuchu, I've been to Tokyo, I've been to those 3 fine places, and there's just the boys, get to go over there and always say the Japanese culture is by far one of the best cultures I've ever been involved with. They are so passionate for the game of baseball, and for the younger guys or the players that haven't ever been there before, I guarantee that's what they all say when they walk away from the World Baseball Classic. Like, 1, how amazing was that? 2, that culture and the way that the Japanese people embrace them as a team and a country is fantastic, right? You saw the support that the Team Australia had at the last Premier 12. It was pretty special. And, Florence is probably going to start kicking off the cheers for Timmy Kennelly, old dad. I'm not sure I actually don't know if the whole family's going over. But hopefully go find that clip, post that in there.
Well, we should ask him, because our next episode is, of course, going to be with the GOAT, Tim Kennelly. So that's a really good question, Hughes. You should write that down. And you should ask him next week on the podcast, because we're going to get TK on here and we're going to ask him all about his final year in the ABL. And has he announced that this will be his last WBC? I think he has. Has he? Yeah, okay. Just checking, just trying to add some suspense. You never know. But asking about his final appearance with Team Australia. So that's going to be on the next episode. Yeah, it is exciting. It is cool. I remember, Willow talking to us last year when they were over there for the Prem 12 on the podcast, and he's talking about, how amazing the community is and well, not just the local community, but even the dignitaries around Japan and stuff like that for them. It's just so fantastic. So it's something pretty special. And I know a few guys from here that are like, hey, I think I might just go. And here's a good story for you. I'll actually, no, I shouldn't say this. I won't say this. But I was talking to two blokes on the weekend, and they said to me, they're younger blokes, maybe play at Morley, maybe not. And they said, oh, Sexy, I'm thinking about going. And should I go with such and such? And I said, okay, how old are you? He goes, oh, I'm like, early to mid-20s. I said, okay, cool. You don't have any expenses. You don't have any kids. You don't have anything going on. Just do it, man. Go for it. You got the money. Just go do it. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. You might not get to see this again, Go and do it. So it's pretty exciting to see. And I'm sure there's a band of Australian supporters going over to cheer on the boys. So, yeah, I think it'd be pretty special. And I'll tell you what, mate, maybe we should just go, hey? Hey, maybe you can unlock some of that big league money you got and just take me over.
Well, what do we got, about a 50 total traveling party to go along with probably another 20 plus delegates from Team Australia that will be there for this. Okay. There's a big traveling party, huge traveling party. They go over for these tournaments. You'll be able to get tickets to Chinese Taipei, Czech, and Korea games. There'll be plenty of seats available for that. There will be 0 seats available for them to Japan.
Standing out front.
For Samurai Japan v Team Australia. No spare tickets for that one. That will be jam-packed for
you'll be able to pull some strings, Hughesy. Come on. Get the boys over there.
Mate, it's tough, man. Like that game, I'm pretty sure it's sold out.
Oh, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, all their games will be sold out already. And that whole, Tokyo Dome area would just be wild with the support for their team. So, no, it's exciting. We're going to be 23 days away. I think I saw a post today that we're only 23 days away. The boys fly out this week, got 2 weeks, and then it's go time, right? So, yeah, it gets me a bit jitty because playing for Team Australia was probably my most favourite time of playing baseball. Close second was Perth Heat. Close second. Third was Melbourne Aces. But representing your country, you cannot beat it. The way the team comes together, the fun that they have with one another, the relationships and friendships that you build in that short period of time, they come together really quick and they're lifelong friends. And I still speak to this day with all the guys I play with, not all of them, but most of the guys I play with. And, it's special, right? And whenever you're in that state, you always seem to catch up with the boys for a beer. So, no, it's going to be great to watch.
Absolutely. So you might have heard, but as I mentioned before, we are going to have the GOAT TK, Tim Kennelly, on our next episode. So make sure you stick around and watch that. I'm going to wrap it up here, Hughesy. I'm going to keep it nice, short and sweet. In the coming weeks, we're going to try to talk to as many people as we can, especially around this WBC roster and team. And, of course, Hughes is going to dive in and give us his lineup now that we know the full roster that we're going to start to see in some of these games. So we appreciate you guys so much for watching. Go and check us out on our socials at Bloop Blast Podcast on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. We are also on the YouTube. So why don't you go and give us a little subscribe, like and subscribe. If you're still watching this video, hit the like button. It makes a huge difference. YouTube is the place I want to be going. So I appreciate you guys for watching. If you're already there, if you're ever on Spotify, that's cool too. Go and hit that up. We appreciate that. At Bloop Blast Podcast on all of the socials. Hughesy, is there anything else that you wanted to say to the people?
Yes, just quickly. The Melbourne
Melbourne
Aces are playing 2 series coming up this weekend versus Hanwha Eagles, and they're playing the 13th, 14th, and 15th. So we've got two KBO teams down here in Victoria, and then I think they play the KT Wiz. I think it's on the Monday. They're playing a little sneaky game on the Monday.
Okay.
And then they play the 20th and 21st, so the following weekend against the KT Wiz. So a couple of series coming up for the Melbourne Aces. So there's still plenty of baseball happening in the country.
I might have to double check those dates because I might be around Melbourne at a certain time. But anyways, that's interesting. It'll be another fly in, fly out type vibe. It'll be bang, bang, bang. So anyways, maybe we can even catch up for a coffee. Who knows? That's pretty cool. That's awesome to hear. And wow, imagine if we could get a bunch more KBO teams down here, bring the Melbourne Aces back. Bang, man, look at that. We got like an 8-team league. That'd be sick. Anyways, we'll talk about that another time. We appreciate you guys so much. Also, keep an eye out on the socials. I will announce the first lot of winners, the 30-man squad. I just didn't want to rush it. Plus, when you got Luke Hughes barking down your neck to get online, you know, you just got to get it done. You got to get it done. You know what I mean? We appreciate you guys so much. Hit him with a salute, Hughesy.
Adios, muchachosos. Adios, muchachosos.
It's an old baseball saying, a bloop and a blast.
Bloop and a blast. Big Sexy, Luke Hughes.
Going back. This ball's